I'm going to share with you an energy releasing practice. The first practice of the year that I'm doing outside, which is great. In fact, it is glorious. Still in March, but very much a delight to feel the warmth of the sun upon the surface of the skin. So, energy, prana. It's our life force, our life energy. And you know, the different shapes that you make with your body, the different postures that you practice, they influence the movement and your realization of this energy. For instance, forward bends, they tend to calm, they quieten. So I'm going to explore a few back bends, spinal extensions, which you realize your energetic potential. It's always good just to sit for a few moments to arrive. So find your comfortable seated position, palms facing uppermost, the tips of your index fingers touching the tips of your thumbs. Time now for you to arriving to your practice, in essence arriving to yourself, but to the experience of yourself without all of life's usual distractions and sometimes dramas. To feel, to be aware of the movement, the flow of your breath. Your natural breath. And then completing one more full breath, resting then the palms of your hands together with your hands in front of your heart space, and to bow your head towards your hands. Symbolically, we surrender our heads to our hearts, ourselves to our higher selves. And then releasing your hands down, open your eyes if your eyes are closed. Connect with your senses. I can hear the birds singing. I feel the warmth of the sun and the smell. There's that something in the air, not quite spring, but there is something. So finding your way onto your mat into an all-fours position, with your knees underneath your hips, and for this practice your hands directly underneath your shoulders, keeping your arms straight, beginning with your back in a flat neutral alignment, and then as you connect with your breath, after this next breath out, arms straight, scooping your breastbone forwards, and as you breathe in, so you dip your lumbar, your lower back, pressing into your hands, push up between your shoulder blades, on the breath out, so arms straight, your breastbone lifting, your lower back dipping. To inhale, pressing into your hands, press up between your shoulder blades. On the exhalation, so use as much as you can your breath to guide you, and as you explore the movement, so you accentuate the movement. Feel the movement in your spine. There's that sense of energy, a connection with your senses. So if you're inside, practicing open a window, letting some air, some prana, some energy into your room. Otherwise, if you can take the practice outside and the weather suits, why not? It's our natural state of being. One or two more full breaths, moving through the practice. And then to bring your back into a flat neutral position, step or place carefully your right foot forward. So your right shin is towards the vertical. If your left knee feels a little tender, you can always double up the mat underneath your left knee. Sprung hands if you can, fingertips resting to the floor, just to give you that additional little bit of a lift. Now there are going to be different options. We either stay hands or fingertips to the floor, or you bring your hands to your hips, still very much sinking into the lunge, pointing your elbows back so you open a little more around your breastbone, and you feel the lift to your breastbone, you feel your shoulder blades softening down your back. So there's the curve in your lumbar, your lower back. I'll give you one more option, so without compromising your lower back or the back of your neck, you can extend through your arms, even to reach up, and still the feeling of sinking into the lunge, reaching up and maybe a little behind, breathing. Apologise about the bell, that's the parrot, it's just behind the camera. Feeling spring as well, dinging a bell. And then we come back to the upright, resting your hands to the mat, draw your right knee back, and now stepping up, placing your left knee forward so you sink into the lunge, That feeling of your collarbone still wide, your breastbone lifting. Either hands to the mat, so you draw your arms in, you extend through your arms, lifting through your breastbone. If that's too strong, always hands to your hips, elbows pointing back. But now you feel that energy. Maybe the energy moving through your spine to reach up a little higher, and the suggestion of reaching up and just that little now behind, again without compromising your lower back or the back of your neck. Breathe. To the upright position, reaching high, breathing in, frame your left foot, slide or step your left foot back. From the all fours, feel the span of your hands, space between your fingers, space between your thumbs. And with your toes tucked under your knees, lifting so you draw your hips back. As you slowly now sink both heels back. Feeling your thigh muscles, gently grip the bones of your thighs. And not just about the back of your legs, is there a feeling of opening around your shoulders, around your upper chest? Resting your knees to the mat, move off your toes, draw your bottom back. For now, stay with your arms forward, taking a breath or two, and then to rise back into this all fours position. Tuck your toes under, pressing your hands down, drawing your hips back away from your hands. Now to either stay there, or it's the transition from downward facing dog to a variation of upwardly facing dog. So with your arms straight, so you draw your shoulders forwards, allow your pelvis to dip, lifting through your breastbone. Inhale, hips high as you draw back. On the breath out. If this is too strong, always try with your knees resting to the mat, shoulders forwards, breastbone lifting. Otherwise, if you're happy to keep your knees lifting, just moving with your own breath, shoulders forwards, breastbone lifting as you dip in your lower back, then pressing back into your hands. We'll practice 3 more rounds. So breathing in, breathing out. It's a delight to practice. It's a celebration physically of your body and of your connection with yourself and the world around you. So we'll practice 1 more full round, arms straight, shoulders forwards, your pelvis dipping your breastbone, lifting as you breathe in, hips high, back to down dog. On the breath out, then resting both knees to the mat, move off your toes, draw your right knee forwards, and you create a little bit more of a diagonal if you can with your right shin without overly twisting your right knee, sliding your left leg back. And just to take for now maybe the compression from your lower back, resting your elbows to the mat or even lying over your lower right leg, so you open a little more into your hips. You sense your sacrum, your lower back towards level. You feel the flow of your breath. And then from this position, so very sensitive, especially to your lower back, your hands back to about shoulder width apart, and slowly now beginning to walk your hands back, subtle adjustments all the time, so your hips, your sacrum towards level, feeling that lift to your breastbone. And with your hands pressing down, your upper arms can roll a little more. Oh, I can see a butterfly over there. It's the second butterfly of the year for me. I saw one yesterday, a small tortoise shell, just on the grass below the pear tree. Such a delight. The wonderment of spring, it always takes me by surprise. It's as if we forget. In a sense, you do forget, because we're reminded once the sun comes out, the sky blue, the birds singing, an absolute delight. Now I'll give you 1 more option. So sensitive, especially again to your lower back, you can always rest your right hand to your right knee, left hand to left foot, just to give you that little bit more of a lift and elevation. Elbows pointing back, shoulder blades softening down your back, feeling the curve to your spine, the lift to your breastbone, the flow of your breath. And then to move safely out, hands to the mat, hands to about shoulder width apart. Tuck your toes under, press your hands down, release. back if you can into down dog, otherwise into an all fours. Breathe. And then resting your knees to the mat, moving off your toes. Now, to step or place your left foot forwards, and then carefully creating that diagonal. So, well, really bring your knee forwards. For variation on pigeon, you create the diagonal with your left shin, you slide your right leg away. Again, to take the compression from your lower back, set your hands forward, lower down, hips sacrum towards level if you can, and just slowing your practice down for a moment. Still feeling your breath, still the connection with your senses. You're not just internalising your awareness. And then to promote that curve to your spine, to feel the flow of energy, hands back to about shoulder width apart, taking your time, walking your hands back. When you start to reach that point of restriction, your hands where they are, and you externally rotate your upper arms, rolling your upper arms a little away from your chest, and still feeling the lift to your breastbone as you allow your shoulder blades to soften back and down. Breathe. If ever you find that the shape that you make sort of makes you hold your breath, you've maybe gone a little bit too far, so you feel the form but softening a little now into this shape. Breathe. To move safely out, dipping down, tuck the toes of your right foot under, release your left foot back, left leg back, maybe now just to pedal out a little through the back of your legs, and then resting your knees to the mat. As you bring your knees to the mat, for now move off your toes, take your knees a little further apart, and to sort of counterpose the back bend we've been practicing, we're going to move into a squat where we're going to actively encourage now the mid-back to round. So if squatting's not right for you, I suggest you just sit onto the mat onto your bottom. Otherwise, tuck your toes under, big toes towards each other, beginning to walk your hands back, and then you lift your knees. And this is where you round in your mid-back, but at the same time you open into your hips. So your heels, your tailbone sinking back, your arms reaching forwards. Breathe. Notice how you feel. It's not a question that we often ask ourselves, unless it's one of the extremes when we're feeling maybe very happy, elated, or feeling very down. But notice how you feel right here, right now. Put an awareness without judgment, an inquiry, without an agenda. You're not looking for the right or wrong way to feel. Now, to find our way to sit, you walk your hands back, maybe taking your hands behind, resting your bottom down, slide. When you're ready, your legs away, giving your legs a little shake, and then to move into a semi-supine position. So that's with your knees bending. It's such a delight just to feel the warmth of the sun. So arriving down onto your mat, so I can feel my mat, I feel the earth beneath my mat. So there's that connection with the earth. We're a part of nature. It's reinforced, I feel, when you practice when you're outside, because you can sense, you can see, it's tangible, that feeling, that connection. So from this semi-supine position, with your arms resting down by your sides, knees parallel, after this next breath out, beginning to lift your bottom away from your mat, lifting through your hips, taking the curve a little further along the length of your spine, lifting gently through your breastbone, to breathe in, and then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, lower your spine, your bottom back to the mat as you breathe out. So your hips, your pelvis lifting, knees parallel, toes relaxed down, to inhale, and then slowly your spine, eventually your bottom, to rest down on the breath out. And again, hips, pelvis lifting, breastbone lifting, to breathe in, slowly lowering, to breathe out. The next time you lift your bottom away from the mat, still your knees parallel, still your toes relaxed, and just see now if you can lift that little bit higher. Either your hands, your arms as they are, or you can bring the palms of your hands together. You can even interlace your fingers, but then using the bind, drawing your upper arms, your shoulder blades towards each other, maybe hips, pelvis now that little bit higher. Breathe. Notice where within your body you feel your breath. And then after this, next breath in, so releasing your hands, vertebrae by vertebrae. Look, can you hear the birds singing as well? Lower your spine, your bottom, back down to the mat. Just take a few breaths. Now I'm going to give you another option. We're either going to repeat the previous posture, variation on bridge, or if your practice allows you today, and I'll show you this first of all, Udvadanurasana. Or from where I'm from, up north of England, we used to call it the crab, where you take your hands behind your shoulders, and with care, with sensitivity. So it's about feeling that release, that burst of energy. If you're lifting into your upwardly facing bow, so entirely up to you. As we just practiced, you can just lift your bottom, hips lifting, maybe palms together, or if it's in your practice today, your hands behind your shoulders as you lift into your upwardly facing bow. Breathe. And then from wherever we are, with care, to lower down, maybe bringing your knees in towards your chest, maybe make a few circles with your knees and massaging your lower back. And making the circles in the opposite direction. And then to complete the practice, rest your feet to the mat. You can maybe take your knees apart, resting the soles of your feet together. Extend through your arms, bend your elbows, catch hold of your elbows, and just take a few resting breaths now in Supta Baddha Konasana. Taking the rush from your practice, taking the rush from your mind. Breathe. Now, if you've got the time and the opportunity to stay as you are or find a more comfortable position as you lie back, please do so. We always tend to rush the final part of the practice, but if it's your time to move back into your day, you bring your knees together, you release your arms, first to turn on to one side, then to find a seated position. Close your eyes, resting the palms of your hands together, rubbing palms together to create warmth. Resting then the palms of your hands over your closed eyes, opening your eyes into the warmth from your hands. Draw your hands slowly down your face. Let the light filter through your fingers. Thank you. If you've liked the video, please like it, share it, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And if you want to contribute to the channel, please click on the link for Buy Me a Coffee and make a donation. I thank you.